sounded like Pikachu.
I'm empty and there's nothing really real. I'm looking for a way out. Hello, let me tell you what it's like to be a zero. Let me show you what it's like to never feel like I'm good enough for anything that's real. I'm looking for a way out.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Steamboat Storytime video. We're so glad you guys are here. We are trying out a new Let's Talk setup today. Something where we can all fit in and be comfortable so we can just talk about whatever it is that we're talking about.
Girl talk. That could be the segment title. Or something like that. Is that...
That's not...
too girly for me.
Is this a part of the Let's Talk series? Or what?
This is a part of the Let's Talk. I was planning on
So
calling it
it's
Let's
like-
Talk About Disney Princesses. Our faces look weird.
For reasons we will explain.
Yes.
I think in the vlog I talked about this a little bit. 10 Stupid Things Women Do to Ruin Their Lives. It was a great book. Highly recommend. It's just meant to be like hard truth. You need to respect yourself. You can't play these games in relationships. It's a relationship book. You have to be an adult and grow up and have healthy relationships with people. So, Sammy, yes you do.
I can be a child forever.
We are having a sleepover right now, so with all the stuffed animals.
And we're playing with makeup.
What's the point of this video?
So one thing she said was, and this is something I've heard a lot, is kind of ripping on Disney princesses, especially like classic ones, about how they would just wait around for a man to rescue them. They never had any dreams. They would just, like, their whole purpose was to fall in love, and like they didn't have any other character based off of that. And I was reading it, and I can understand how some points of view and some points are correct, but like overall I feel like classic Disney princesses get a really bad rap that they don't exactly deserve from people who are like super girl power in the 21st century. Because like nowadays Disney princesses are a lot different and our entire culture is a lot different. And just because the culture back then was different doesn't necessarily mean it was completely bad. There weren't like good things. Certainly every culture and every time period has its faults and bad things, and hopefully we continue to get better. Just in the context of these films, you can't look at it from a 21st century girl power perspective and say it's a crap movie just because it doesn't fit through the lens that you're looking at it.
I think what's so cool about Disney princesses and the whole aspect of Disney princesses, I feel like the whole Disney princess underlying theme is everybody gives it crap because it's a Disney princess and you have to be the perfect Disney princess or you can't be a part of the Disney princess group. But the beautiful thing about every single Disney princess is they're all so different. They get a rep for being all the same, all cookie cutter. Even the ones who are could slightly be the same, they all are still different. They have different storylines, different personality aspects about them. They share some similarities, but they're all different. I think that's what is so cool about Disney princesses, is they're all different and there's not, everybody has something that makes them special, and I think that is really, really cool.
Part of the reason that there are similarities is because these are stories, these are movies that were scripted and produced. There are only so many different character layouts. Yes, you can tweak it to have, you know, as much as infinite amount of unique qualities to make a character different from another character, but ultimately there are only so many character arcs that can be had within the movie-making universe. And that was something interesting, like when you were saying you can't look at it from a 21st century point of view. In the 80s, Ariel was a symbol for I'm an independent person, and that is kind of a more like 20th, 21st century, definitely is a 21st century point of view. And yet she still is one of the princesses that gets flagged. So it's like, even though it was written kind of from the 21st century point of view, it was literally produced closer to that because it was an era that was closer to the 21st century. It was still soaked in, there was a lot of sexism and misogyny and misunderstood feminism. These are stories that were originally written a long time ago. So that is why you can't look at it from a 21st century point of view, even though it was written, it was produced in the 21st century.
Because Disney took all of the inspiration for those movies based off of stories written like 1700, 1800. Like, they're not 21st century stories like Frozen is. Even Frozen was based off of a really old story. In that scene as such a big, like, 21st century girl power movement. That was based off of a story written long ago. So these stories aren't 21st century girl power. They're 1800s. Like, they're not meant to be girl powered films, but they've transformed it into something that can represent that, which is what I think is fantastic.
So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of take a princess, do one at a time, and we're gonna stick to more classic princesses because those are the ones that get more flack. And we're just gonna do the pros and cons of their character and their movie and see, do they really deserve the criticism that they get? And are they still good for your little girl or little boy to watch? And still feel like, hey, I feel empowered, I feel like I can become a better person through this character and through this movie. So just question, when do we introduce what we're doing?
I think now's a good time.
Okay, yeah, what we decided to do is just kind of dress up as a character that we like.
Just for fun.
As a Disney princess, and we did makeup on the left side of our face. For you, it'd be the right side.
Yeah.
Our left, your right.
Blair, who are you?
Wait for it, I'm Mulan. I have the frog because I love this frog, and Tiana is actually my favorite princess. But right now, I'm Mulan. Yep, who are you?
I am Belle. I did pretty, like, you can't really see it. It's, which I feel like is very appropriate for Belle. But my shirt is like a dictionary definition. And also it's Princess Bride hat. Sammy.
I am Rapunzel because she's my favorite princess. I love her. I did the purple on the top and gold on the bottom. Well, the purple shirt has Belle on it. This was actually the first shirt that I bought at Disney World with like my own money. So
That's so nice.
So let's start with the OG
Snow White.
White.
Oh, nope. Skip it. Nope.
Okay,
Cinderella.
actually,
We're going to
yeah,
Cinderella.
we can't talk about
We can't do
Snow
Snow
White. I'm
White.
sorry.
No, I'm not doing Snow White.
I can agree with that. It's too much of a trigger. But let's just say
Go to Cinderella.
let's just say she's looking
She's
at
very hard work. No.
she is hardworking.
She can clean well.
She inspired those who watched her to never give up hope even when life is difficult and everything is being thrown at you and there isn't anything you can do about it.
That's good.
Sure,
Moving
yes,
on. Cinderella. Cinderella was the next OG princess, and I don't know. I've always liked the story of Cinderella. I think it's just a classic story that everybody, when you watch it, you know the outcome, but it still is like, aw, that's sweet. Because she's going from an abusive situation into something where she ultimately gets what she deserves in the end. in my
Harry
opinion.
Potter.
Harry Potter is Cinderella. Illuminati confirmed. Sammy
Anyways,
wants to
that was-
quit
that was-
compilation part 2.
That was my opinion on Cinderella, so.
She wasn't really look up to her because she defeated the bad guy and she took care of herself. You look up to her because it's like so much happened to her, but she kept hope. She kept dreaming. And even though life wasn't how she thought it should be, she never gave up. And she had good friends with her who helped her a lot. And she had those friends because she was such a kind person. So even when you're on hard times, having good friends like that because you were a good friend to them is a really good message. And also, like, her goal wasn't exactly to like marry the prince and become the princess and like have a husband. It was just to have a better life and to experience something nice. I mean, this may not be a good influence part, but she still went to the party even though she wasn't supposed to. Like, she still went out and did what she wanted to do when the opportunity was given to her. She wasn't afraid of her stepmother, even though she had every reason to be. Because, like, at that point, she could, like, in that time period, you couldn't just go out and take care of yourself. You needed to stay where you were no matter how difficult it was. And this is just a side comment, but I've also heard flack about the Disney princes and how the earlier ones didn't have a personality. I saw some sassiness with Prince Charming. His dad was...
Especially in the sequels.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
His dad was hosting the ball to get all these ladies to come so the prince would find a wife, and he would bow, and then he just went
yawn.
up to his dad. And I'm just like, that is totally like one little bit of like a second just showed his character so well.
That is true. Wow, I never thought about that moment. There are a lot of animations that more recently, like let's say starting after Little Mermaid and beyond, human animated characters, like I understood like their personality, I could see it through. But it was the live action Cinderella film that actually made me understand Cinderella. There have been plenty of like really, really good Cinderella adaptations, like Ever After, even though Drew Barrymore's accent is questionable. There have been really good representations of what it's like making Cinderella human in the sense where you can see like what the cause and effect of the abuse is and how it is that your family is kind of your whole world in that time period and stuff like that. It's easier for Hilary Duff Cinderella or whatever to, you know, go to the party anyway, so to speak. Yeah, that's really funny. I didn't even think about that. All I can remember is like it was in the third Cinderella movie where his dad is like, you can't go, and then he's like, okay, and then he jumps out the window.
You gotta take one more step down these stairs. Glances out window, okay, jumps out window.
Yeah, I think that's just spectacular. But again, that is a more modern, like that's a
Yeah.
more like recent one. So I don't know. I love what you said about like she has those friends because she's kind. So that is a good influence because it shows cause and effect. If you do treat people with kindness genuinely, then they will want to genuinely be your friend.
I feel like over the years, people have wanted to make the Disney princesses maybe not exactly a power fantasy, but to emulate a powerful woman and a powerful person to make the person watching it want to become powerful. Whereas in the olden times, it was focused on being a kind person, being a loving person, and being someone that someone will see and instantly fall in love with because, well, also beauty and stuff, but also just being very, wow, this is a very heart-filled person, and it's just something that stands out.
A lot of the Disney movies have, like, with these first couple princesses, it's like, yeah, they're pretty and they are beautiful, but a lot of it is their kindness and their beauty is what's inside of them, not so much as what they look like on the outside. And I think that's a really good message to show to people, especially nowadays. Like, it's not what you look like, it's what's on the inside that people care about, especially now. So
Do we want to move on to Aurora?
Sure.
Aurora, I feel like there is a valid reason for thinking like maybe she wouldn't be as good of an influence because she did meet Philip and hung out with him for a few hours, and literally he was the first boy that she had ever met and instantly fell in love with him because he was a boy. And also when she found out she was a princess and that she was going to go home and be with the family she had never been with, she was upset because she wouldn't be able to meet the boy that she had met just a few hours ago. So that's something that I definitely see criticism with. I actually think...
with that,
Okay.
to me, when I watch Sleeping Beauty and I see that scene where they're like, oh, you can't see him, we have to go here. To me, if you think about it, she's gone her entire life believing one thing. She didn't know she was a princess. She didn't know she had this family. All she has ever known was those three fairies. So her having that over dramatic reaction to me is completely valid considering what bomb was just dropped on her. Like, sorry, you have to cancel everything because we have to take you here. That is completely valid to me.
I get that.
Like, I get it. Like, oh, she just fell in love with somebody, but it's like, if you have a bomb dropped on you that big, I think the way she reacted was fine, because there's so many other things that she could have done, but all she did was go and cry for a few hours, which is fine.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I just love the dramatic sobs. I think they're beautiful because it's like experiencing
Because,
real
yeah,
emotion.
'cause, like,
You're
if you-
allowing yourself
If you
to
watch
do
that scene, she comes home and she's like, you guys will never believe it. Like, I just met someone. Like, I'm so excited. And they're like, don't be as excited. You can't see him again. You're a princess. We're ruining everything you were just so excited about. It's gone.
It's interesting because it's actually a girl trying to find her life and then it's taken away from her.
It's basically what it is she gets everything that she was just so excited about taken away, and then it comes to find out that he is the one that she can be with, and like that's good. But like if you look at that scene and in that moment, I feel like her reaction is valid because everything that she's ever known and everything that she's ever wanted for herself has been taken away.
I think it would be interesting for us to like do a contextual analysis of looking at the ballet that it was originally based on, trying to see what that is. But when I first thought about Aurora, like that whole tale, girl meets boy, evil force, two people fall in love, it's the tale of young love and how things even as dark as death can get between two lovers of something so pure and so experiential and so like, you know, bleh. And I was like, you know, that's not for me, Jen. But the way you explain it, I get it.
To me, she was just this person that it was like, okay, she's going through all these changes, but she's somehow still being okay with it. She's expressing how she feels, but she's still doing it in a way where she's going along with it. I'm not okay with this, but because you are my family, I'm going to be okay with it.
She does that incredibly poised, and she goes through it. It is only when she has a moment to herself in which she allows herself to blah.
And like her running away from that conversation, I completely get.
It's incredibly overwhelming.
Dropped a bomb.
Can we agree that Prince Philip is a rock star, though?
Honestly, though, yes.
Fighting a dragon to save a girl he just met.
Yeah,
because
he fell in love with her too.
I mean, like,
think
yeah,
it's awesome.
but the lengths. We could have another one just about Disney princes. Okay, so that is the next one.
I think we've exhausted Aurora. I think Ariel is the next one.
And then that's like kind of...
And then that's kind of where it changes, because then they had Beauty and the Beast, and then they had Jasmine.
And things
I
start
think
picking
Mulan
up.
and Pocahontas were after that.
Yeah.
And
Ariel...
Ariel is kind
to
of where...
Jasmine is kind of the transition from that classic era, their idea of femininity, to the more modern form.
Yes, representing the new era of femininity.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Ariel then, which is very close to your heart.
I love
there.
Ariel. And
Then go first.
Like, to me, Ariel has always been the person that I looked up to. Like, after Aurora, when I saw The Little Mermaid, I immediately was like, this is my favorite Disney princess. I am in love with her. I sang Part of Your World, first grade talent show, kindergarten year. Like, that's what I remember. But to me, Ariel has always been this person she is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve her dream. And her dream has, it's not even the whole, like, Prince Eric side, like, she wants to be with him. Like, that's not it. To me, her desire was to know more about humans. Like, she just wanted to know about these people and like something that was new to her that she had always been denied knowing about. She's always been told they're dangerous, they're this, they're this, they're this, they're this. And she just had a natural curiosity of like, I just want to know more. And I think that's what I related to as a kid, is because I'm the type of person who's, at least with like history and like books and like movie lore and like theory lore, I want to know more. Even if you're telling me that it's bad and I'm not gonna like what I find, I still want to know more because I want it for my own sake. And like, that's what I love about her. She has that curiosity. Yes, she made bad mistakes. That's valid. But that also is a whole nother discussion, because I feel like that's manipulation. They took her in her weakest moment of having everything that she's ever collected, everything that was special to her was gone within a span of 15 seconds in a movie. It was just gone. And I think her reaction of wanting to do something to try and get that back and be with the person that she felt she loves, like, that to me is amazing. Because if you had all your like precious belongings destroyed in an act by somebody that you love, like, that would be heartbreaking.
There is a point, you have to get the character to the lowest of the lows so that they're willing to have to like face something that they have to start trying to fix the wrong way so that they can learn how to fix it the right way by the end of a tale. That people just don't look at. Like, all they see is that a very young girl was willing to give her family and her home up for a guy, which isn't true. It's not true. That's not what it is.
Yeah, because if you think about it, in the moment where she signed the contract, all of her stuff, her family basically had just betrayed her by destroying everything that she loved. So it makes sense that she's going to sign a contract to not be near her family at that moment in time. Because she's not going to want to go home. She's not going to want to go home and have her dad be like, sure, did you finish picking up all your stuff? Like, no, like, she's not going to want to go home to that. So to me, it makes sense that she went off, she signed the contract, and then she realizes as time goes on that this is not.
That was
not the wisest decision for her to make.
I think that Belle and Ariel are kind of like journalists of the Disney princess because they are gutsy. They're kind of willing to just take risks because they are independent, and they're kind of like, that's just who they are. They're able to make strong decisions like that. Like, you know, Belle sacrificing herself for her father, and then Ariel trying to, like, establish some sort of, not just, I don't know what the word is, it's not pride.
She wants to recognize, like,
Yeah.
who she is, because her entire life she's being told, you're a princess of the sea. You're one of the 7 daughters of Triton. She's the youngest of that entire family, and so she's been told her entire life to be one way, and that's not who she wants to be. She doesn't want that. She wants to be going out and doing things and finding things and exploring, and I think that's what's so cool about her, is that she wants to go out and she wants to try things.
She wants to be herself.
And
You
she
know?
feels like nobody's letting her do that.
Yeah,
Because
and
even when she
yeah.
misses the concert performance, her dad just, like, rips into her, like, you knew this was important. Why did you miss this? What were you doing? And she's just like, I was just going out and doing what I love to do.
Yeah. And that is another point. It wasn't that she was directly disrespecting her father because she didn't
No,
intentionally.
she totally forgot. She
She
forgot.
just forgot. That
It shows her
that is-
immaturity, but it
yeah.
also shows how she wants to just be like every other kid out there who
she's
just
so
wants to do
passionate
herself.
that she just goes out and plays.
I can still see, like, by the way, first I'm saying I totally understand. I'm just saying, like, devil's advocate a little.
Okay.
One, there's definitely where a parent can say she did make an understandable, vulnerable decision, but if a child who's in that a similar emotional place sees that, and they may start thinking it's okay for me to disobey my parents, it's okay for me to make dumb decisions, and it's so, like, all of this is okay because, like, Ariel did it and it worked out for her. And that kind of leads into the second thing, is did she learn her lesson? And it didn't really seem like she did because everybody else cleaned up the mess that she had made.
Ding ding ding. I know the exact moment when she learned her lesson. When she is sobbing on the dock. Again, love a good sob. In that moment, she realizes everything you got. Like, okay, glancing past, not watching the movie too carefully, it's like, oh, she's crying because Eric's going and, like, marrying that girl. No, she's crying because now she's here. She realizes that her time's up. This whole fantasy of attaining happily ever after with my one true love and never having to deal with any sort of pain or being stripped of any sort of, like, freedom and having to be, like, confined by my family or any sort of restrictions. Like, any sort of idea of freedom that I had, you know, I don't have to worry about that being taken away again. Now she has to be faced with the hard reality that actions have led her to this point in which she has failed. She got herself in too deep. She is also hurt about Eric, but I think that the moment in which she is hurt over Eric marrying someone else is not when she's watching the boat go away. It's when she's on the staircase and she sees him with the girl. I think that's when that happened. I think that the sobbing on the dock is like, I don't have my family. I don't have my father.
She doesn't have anybody in that
I don't have
moment.
my love. I've abandoned my home. So I think she did learn the consequences of her action. I just don't think that, again, people, like, look at it like that. Which, there is something to say that if every single point that we list is able to be seen, then I think it's fair. But if no one can ever, like, see these without overanalyzing them, then there needs to be something
And
that changes within the script.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that she may have sat there and cried, but she did not take any kind of action to really fix it besides just going and kissing him.
Once she learned
Okay.
once she learned what was happening, I think that's when she's kind of sprung into... Because, you know, when, like, Sebastian and Flounder, when they come up to her on the dock and they're like, hey, that's not real. Like, that's Ursula trying to keep you from this. That's when I think it turns from, okay, I don't want my true love. I want to fix this mess I've made.
Yeah.
So she springs into action to go to the boat to basically save him from making a mistake.
to save him.
To save him from making a mistake of kissing Ursula and unwillingly dooming her to an eternity of servitude. And she even shows us, she's like, I tried to tell you, but I couldn't tell you. Then she turns back into a mermaid and gets dragged under, and then it's his turn to go save her, because she tried to come and save him as quick as she could.
And I think it's a lot like what you said. If no one can really see that, because if you're watching the movie, it looks like it's all for a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is the wanting to learn, but then that kind of gets dropped off when she meets this guy.
I think
Interesting.
that's because Ursula does the manipulation point of, oh,
Yeah.
you want this person that you've met. I can get you two together. You just have to do this.
She didn't have to fully suffer her consequences, so it could be a bad influence.
But it's also because
on
her
an
dad has
influential child.
Because if you look at it, it is for the kids and it's for the parents as well, because her dad has that change of heart of seeing everything that she did to reach her dream. And I think that's something that parents can try to relate to, because if you see your kid working hard enough to get towards something, you're gonna want to get behind them and support them. And that's eventually what King Triton learns, instead of just constantly being like, no, no, no. He learns to accept, okay, this is my child's dream. I'm going to support her instead of keep her from that. And I think that's something that parents need to understand, is that
Yeah.
he learns a lesson the same way she learns a lesson.
I think that's spectacular that you say that, because it's not like he's just handing something to her. It truly is a father-daughter story, because I watched like the animated Little Mermaid series, but it doesn't get deep into the anthology of like what King Triton was when he was younger, and neither does the prequel Little Mermaid movie either. It just tells more about the mother and how and where the seed of hatred for humans comes from in his heart, but it doesn't. Introducing a topic like that in a prequel movie is incredibly dumb, because obviously he's still prejudiced against humans in the follow-up movie, which was the original. But it is a father-daughter story, because you can tell that Triton and Ariel probably what is a lot like Triton when he was her age, except his goal as a king is to establish order. It is amazing to have like a youngest daughter kind of rebellious story between a father and a daughter. And it is so true that parents do want to get behind their children once they realize that their child isn't being a child, they're being their child. And I think that's really cool, where in the part of the... I have lipstick on my hand.
So we've talked about a lot of stuff, and it's been very good on camera, off camera. Everything that we've talked about tonight has been very eye-opening and very personal for us, because in the end, Disney is kind of what's brought us together. But I do want to make one last point before we do wrap things up with this video. There's been a lot of what the word stars, actors, role models, parents in general, a lot of people coming forward and saying Disney princesses as a whole are not good role models. And that to me is just so ridiculous, because every princess is a princess for a reason. Disney is a company that would not put a character out there if they wouldn't put a character out there to be the star of their film, to be the head of a film, if you couldn't look up to them in some way. To say that they all are worthless and have no good qualities about them and that they can't be looked up to by anybody is ridiculous.
There are good things to learn. Just like some people can take bad from it, some people can take good from it. So don't assume because other people are saying it's bad that you're just gonna say, okay, I won't let my kids watch any of it because all these other people are saying it's bad. Like, you watch it and you look at what your child can learn from it, because Disney isn't about, hey, look at these pretty ladies, you should be pretty like them, or hey, they have a boyfriend, you should have a boyfriend too. It's, these are women who are kind, who are brave, who stand up for what they believe in, and those are qualities that everyone should learn and try to emulate.
This was fun. Oh, sorry. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking through this, what I'm sure is a very long video by the time this is edited. We try to keep these Let's Talks under 30 minutes if we can, because we feel like Let's Talks have so much depth to them and so much good conversation that we want to keep them as long as we can. That's why we don't do them very often, is because they take us a lot of time to film and analyze and not debate, discuss and direct and just figure out what direction we want to go. So thank you guys for sticking with us through that. If you like this video, please be sure to share it, subscribe, like hit the like button. I have said like the hit button.
Like, ooh, let's do it.
Like the hit button.
Like the hit button. But yeah, that's basically it. Comment question. Who's your favorite Disney princess? Let us know.
You know, and why not tell us why also?
Yeah, why are they your favorite? What about them do you like? Yeah. Okay, so that's it. We will see you guys next week. Oh wait, next week Christmas videos are starting.
Oh yeah!
Okay.
Bye guys. Okay, turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. It's recording.